Stop for a second. If you have been learning English for years and you keep making the same mistakes again and again, even mistakes you already know are wrong, then this video may explain something that could completely change the way you improve your English. Because think about this. You study a grammar rule. You understand it. You see the correct answer and think, yes, I know this. But then you start speaking, and suddenly you make the same mistake again. Maybe you say, yesterday I go, and 1 second later you realize, oh no, it should be went. I know that. So let me ask you something. If you already know the correct English, why does your mouth keep saying the wrong English? Why do you make the same mistake today, after making the same mistake yesterday, and after studying English for years? And here is the dangerous part. If you don't understand what is really happening, you may spend another year learning more vocabulary, studying more grammar, watching more English videos, trying harder and harder, but still repeating the same mistakes. And one day, you may ask yourself, why am I studying so much, but still not changing? That was exactly what happened to me. For a long time, I thought my problem was simple. I thought, I just need to study more. But I was wrong. The problem was not that I knew too little English. The problem was that I didn't understand why my old mistakes kept coming back. And when I finally understood this, something changed. I stopped seeing my mistakes as proof that I was bad at English. I started seeing them as a pattern, a habit. And that realization helped me understand what I actually needed to change. So please don't leave yet, because in this video, I'm going to share the 4 real reasons why I kept making the same English mistakes, even when I already knew the correct answer. And the 4th reason was the biggest surprise for me. It made me realize that sometimes I wasn't just making the same mistakes, I was practicing them. Yes, without realizing it, I was actually training my brain to repeat the English mistakes I wanted to stop. And if you are doing the same thing, you need to know it. Because once you understand this, you can stop wasting time fighting the wrong problem. And more importantly, you can finally start changing the way you speak. So if you are tired of saying, I know this, so why do I keep getting it wrong? Stay with me, because by the end of this video, I want you to understand exactly why this keeps happening and what you can start doing today to break that cycle. Let's begin. Reason number 1. I knew the rule, but I didn't own it. The first reason was simple. I thought knowing something meant I could use it, but that was not true. I could look at a sentence and know the correct answer. For example, someone could ask me, is it I went there yesterday or I go there yesterday? Easy. I knew the answer. I went there yesterday. No problem. But then someone asked me, what did you do yesterday? And suddenly, I was speaking fast. I was thinking about my answer. I was thinking about vocabulary. I was thinking about what the other person thought of me. And before I knew it, I said, yesterday I go. Why? I knew the rule. This was my big realization. Knowing English in a quiet moment is not the same as using English in a real conversation. When I was studying, I had time. I could think. I could look at the sentence. But speaking is different. Speaking is fast. Real people don't stop and wait while you search through every grammar rule in your brain. So my old habit won. And this leads to an important question. How many things do you know in English, but cannot use automatically yet. That was my first problem. I had information, but I didn't have enough real-life practice. Reason number 2. I kept practicing the wrong thing. This one was difficult to accept because I thought, I practice English every day. And maybe you say the same thing. But then I asked myself a better question. What exactly am I practicing every day? Because practice does not always make you better. Sometimes practice makes your mistakes stronger. Let me explain. Imagine you always say, he go to work every day. You know something sounds wrong, but you keep saying it. He go, he go, he go. Every time you repeat it, your brain becomes more familiar with it. And familiar things are easy to repeat. That was a painful realization for me. I wasn't only making mistakes, sometimes I was training my brain to repeat them. Wow. Think about that for a second. The more I repeated an old pattern, the more automatic it became. So simply speaking more was not enough. I needed to notice my repeated mistakes. Then I needed to stop, correct them, and practice the new pattern many times. Not once, not twice, many times. Because my brain had spent years learning the old habit, I couldn't expect one correction to magically change everything. And neither can you. Reason number 3. I was too busy trying to speak perfectly. This was another strange problem. The more I tried to sound perfect, the more mistakes I made. Have you experienced that? You start speaking, then your brain says, be careful, don't make a mistake, use correct grammar, say it perfectly, don't sound stupid. And suddenly, your brain becomes a very strict English teacher. And you are trying to speak while your brain is shouting instructions at you. That creates pressure. And when I felt pressure, I became nervous. When I became nervous, I spoke less naturally. And when I tried to control every single word, I often forgot what I wanted to say. Then I made even more mistakes. Here is what I learned. Confidence does not mean making 0 mistakes. Confidence means continuing, even when a mistake happens. That changed something for me. Instead of thinking, I must speak perfectly, I started thinking, I want to communicate clearly. That was a much better goal. Because when you focus too much on being perfect, you become afraid. But when you focus on communication, you become more free. And strangely, the more relaxed I became, the easier it was to notice and improve my mistakes. Reason number 4. I corrected myself, but I didn't change my habit. This was probably the biggest reason. I corrected myself after the mistake, but I didn't build a new habit. For example, I might say, she have 2 children. Then someone corrected me. She has 2 children. I said, oh yes, has. Then I moved on. The next conversation? She have again. Why? Because understanding a correction is only the beginning. My brain needed a replacement. So instead of only saying, she has, I began practicing complete, useful sentences. She has 2 children. She has a new job. She has a beautiful smile. My friend has a car. My brother has a dog. Again and again. slowly, clearly, until the correct pattern felt more familiar. That is the difference. I stopped treating mistakes like one-time problems. I started seeing them as habits, and habits need to be replaced, not just corrected. So remember this. Don't only ask, what did I do wrong? Also ask, what do I need to practice differently? That question can change everything. So what did I do differently? I stopped trying to fix every English problem at once, and I started with these 4 steps. Step 1, I found my repeated mistakes. Not every mistake, just the mistakes I made again and again. Maybe you often say, I am agree, or he don't understand. Or maybe you always use the wrong word when you feel nervous. Choose 1 or 2 repeated mistakes. Don't fight your entire English brain in one day. Just start small, because awareness is the first step. You cannot change a habit you do not notice. Step 2, I created a better replacement. I didn't just memorize a rule. I practiced useful sentences. If my repeated mistake was, he don't, I practiced, he doesn't know. He doesn't like coffee. He doesn't understand. Then I said them out loud, because I wanted my mouth and brain to learn together, not just my eyes, not just my notebook. My goal was simple: make the correct pattern feel familiar. Step 3, I slowed down. I realized I made more mistakes when I rushed. I wanted to answer quickly because I was afraid of silence. But silence is okay. You do not need to answer in 1 second. Take a breath, think, then speak. A slower, clearer sentence is better than a fast sentence you don't understand yourself. At first, slow down. Build control. Speed can come later. Step 4, I stopped using mistakes as proof that I was bad. This was the biggest mindset change. Before, when I made the same mistake again, I thought, see, I'm terrible at English. But later, I thought, okay, there it is again. This is the habit I'm working on. Do you see the difference? One thought attacks you. The other thought helps you. Mistakes became information. They showed me what I needed to practice. And slowly, I stopped feeling ashamed of them. Did all my mistakes disappear overnight? Of course not. I wish. But something much better happened. I started noticing my mistakes earlier. Then I started correcting myself faster. And after enough practice, some old mistakes simply stopped appearing. Not because I became perfect, but because I built better habits. I also felt more confident because I finally understood something important. Progress does not mean you never make mistakes. Progress means you understand your mistakes better, you recover faster, and you keep moving forward. So now, let's practice together. This is your shadowing practice. Listen, repeat, speak with confidence. Ready? 1, I don't need to be perfect to communicate. 2, knowing a rule is not the same as using it. 3, I can change one mistake at a time. 4, my mistakes show me what to practice. 5, old habits take time to change. 6, I will slow down and speak clearly. 7, I can notice my mistakes without feeling ashamed. 8. Every correction is a chance to improve. 9. Practice can build better habits. 10. I am getting better every time I speak. One more time. And this time, don't just repeat the words. Believe them. I am getting better every time I speak. My friend, if you keep making the same English mistakes, please don't give up. Don't look at one mistake and decide your whole English journey is a failure. You are learning a new skill, and skills take time. Some habits took you years to build, so be patient while you build new ones. Notice the mistake. Understand it. Practice a better pattern. Then try again. And when you make the same mistake tomorrow, don't say, I will never learn. Say, I'm still training. Because that is the truth. You are still training. And one day, you may suddenly realize, wait, I don't make that mistake as often anymore. That is how real progress often happens. Quietly, slowly, one small change at a time. So keep speaking, keep noticing, keep practicing. And please remember, you do not need perfect English to move forward. You just need the courage to keep going. If this video helped you understand why you keep making the same English mistakes, please like this video and subscribe to EngBoost for more English stories, speaking practice, and motivation. And I have a question for you. Which English mistake do you keep making again and again? Write it in the comments. Don't be embarrassed. You may discover that thousands of other learners make exactly the same mistake. And if you know someone who always says, I know this, so why do I keep getting it wrong? Share this video with them. Maybe they need to hear this today. Thank you so much for spending this time with me. Keep learning, keep speaking, keep going. And remember, your mistakes are not proof that you cannot speak English. They are simply signs showing you what to practice next. See you in the next chapter.